Here we go. 28. This is day number 28 of my Unbound Live. Of course, now a day doesn't mean consecutive days. I'm not doing weekends. Certain things come up. But this is 28. 7 broadcasts left on this series. So let's do an inventory. This morning, a real inventory. Not a check-in, a counting of what has changed since the first time I started here. So we're close to the end of this series, and I don't want us to arrive at day 35 without having genuinely marked the arc, okay? And this is not a celebration in the sense of everything being perfect or finished. Nothing's perfect, except that it is what it is, right? It is a celebration in the sense of the work being real, of something having been built, of the person who is here today being genuinely different from the person who was here 28 days ago. So let me start. What has changed for James, right? Over 28 days, but you get it. 28 days ago, roughly, I opened this series with a testimony and an invitation. I told you about March 4th and April 8th of 2023. I told you that today is the best day of my life. And then I was going to show up every morning that I was able for this broadcast for 35 different broadcast days. And I was going to do it live, and I was going to do it free, and I was going to do it in public. Here's what I know about those 28 days and what they've produced in me. I am more integrated than I was on day one, not dramatically. The work of refinement or integration is slow and compounding, but the act of teaching this content every single day from the actual inner space of a life that is simultaneously doing the work has created a coherence that I can feel. The gap between what I teach and how I live, which was already extremely small, is infinitesimal. It's almost, I can't find it. I'm more settled in my testimony, not the details, because the details haven't changed, but the willingness to let the testimony be complete, to let it be the whole story, including the parts that are still in process, okay? There is less management in how I hold my own story than there was 28 days ago. And many of you, when this little series is over, will see a lot more of that. I'm also more convinced, not less, that this work is the most important thing I know how to offer. Not the framework conceptually, not the intellectual architecture, not even the coaching, the testimony, the lived, ongoing, real-time evidence that a human can walk through the worst thing they've ever known, time and time again, and come out genuinely, completely, gratefully alive. I believe that more fully today than I did on day one. So what else has changed? Well, let me also name what has been built in these 28 days in the terms of actual content of the pathway. We have covered all 6 stages of the autonomy framework, comfort through calmness, not as abstractions, but as living realities grounded in testimony, in the specific texture of an actual human life. We've covered the invisible contract in depth, what it is, where it comes from, what it costs, how it transmits, between generations and beyond, and what it takes to release it. We have covered the hall moment. Honesty aligns liberation's language, not just as a concept, but a recurring lived experience. The specific moment when the inner space, the interior honesty, encounters itself and the language of liberation begins to form. We've covered grief, forgiveness, courage, clarity, clean living, solitude, calmness, building, testimony, parenting through transformation, the long game, the hard seasons, and the return. That's an extraordinary body of work. And we're not even done yet. So the hall moment of the inventory is this. The moment you see that you are not who you were, not who you're becoming, who you have become, who you already are right now, because it's who you've always been, as a result of the work that you've actually done. The honesty is, I have changed. Something real has happened here. I can see the person I was on day one from the vantage point of day 28, and I know the distance between them is real. When that honesty lands, something aligns with a specific and significant weight, because the transformation stops being theoretical. It stops being hope or a direction or a thing you're working toward. It becomes fact and evidence, an accomplished fact, something that has already happened. And the language that forms is the language of a person who knows they've done something real, who does not have to wait for someone else to say, oh, wow, I see this, to confirm it. A person who can stand in the evidence of their own changed inner space and say, yes, this is real. I've done this. I want to mark something specific before we go to application today. 28 days ago, I was navigating, how I put this, significant external complexity. Significant external complexity. Genuine difficulty. The kind of hard season that, before the last, 4 years ago, would have had me disappearing into performance, managing the narrative, managing my own interior in ways that cost me the truth. Instead, I just choose to live an open life. I chose to open a live series, to show up every morning in public, to teach from the middle of the season rather than from the other side of it, to let the testimony be current and real and unmanaged. And I'm still learning that there's still some management there. See, that is different from who I was. That is evidence of the work, not perfect, not complete, but unmistakably, measurably different. And that difference, that specific, named, honest difference, is worth marking, worth celebrating. Not just in me, in you as well. So here's your practice today. 3 questions. Real time, I want you to sit with them. First, who were you on day 1? What was the quality of your interior on the morning before this series started? Second, who are you today? What's different? Not globally, specifically. 1 or 2 concrete things. Honest things is all you need to think of. And third, what is the most significant thing this series has made visible for you that was invisible before? Write it down. Say it loud. Let the inventory be real. So, part/day 27. 7 days from the end. Monday, the ongoing practice. Because this series ends in 7 days, but the work does not. And I want to give you something that is genuinely sustainable, not a program, a practice. So be well. I'll see you on Monday.